Hey Neha, good morning. Welcome to my show, The Karam Show. I'm really pleased to have you on my show today, and I'm really excited, about the journey, about the discussion we are going to have. So Neha, what is your story? How did you start the Neha Talks, and what the challenges you faced, and how did you overcome all those challenges?
Thank you. First of all, Karam, thank you very much for having me on your platform. I already feel like a celebrity, and I think the purpose is met. I'm happy. I feel like a celebrity. Now I can rock the show, right? So, thank you
Yes.
for making me feel one. Of course, talking about Neha Talks, it's a very special thing to me because Neha Talks happened to me when nothing else was happening. So although it may come across as a no option thing, but it actually was much more than that. So you said, I'll immediately, first of all, I'll touch on what is Neha Talks. So Neha Talks is an initiative into personal coaching, counseling, training, and development. It
Okay.
focuses a lot on personal development. So
Okay.
it focuses a lot on guiding individuals for, let's say, for example, career transition. If they are going through finding their own uniqueness, so personal branding. It also touches upon your relationships. So a lot of times people are not going through best of their relationships, and they identify that
Yes,
there are some
yes.
gaps, and then they come to you. So Neha Talks is all about a lot of those aspects. A lot of times, people going through leadership crisis where they do not know what is it that they are doing wrong. So identifying all those gaps one to one, helping them to overcome them and become the best version of themselves and keep evolving. So this is what is Neha Talks all about. Through my initiative, I help people. As far as challenges are concerned, honestly, there are a lot of challenges, but one challenge that I want to talk more about is the challenge of not knowing oneself enough.
Okay. Okay.
So I think that's one biggest challenge that I will talk. I mean, of course, there will be a lot of external challenges, a lot of
Right.
other challenges, and if I always say, right, failures and challenges. If these two subjects I start talking about, I think I can talk for hours more than
Okay.
success, right? And I
Yes.
think
Yes.
that's a part of my success in its own. But yeah, I think the biggest challenge today I want to highlight is when you do not know who you really are, when you do not know how have you evolved, when you don't know how your last 5 years have gone by, and you realize that maybe last few years I was only working and working, and I have lost myself somewhere. So that is the biggest challenge of how to identify what have you lost, what is it that you want to regain, why do you want to regain, finding your why. So finding your purpose, knowing more about yourself is the
Okay.
biggest challenge that even I faced when I was starting Neha Talks. Before that, when I was able to overcome it is when Neha Talks became a reality.
Okay. Okay. So even I faced that problem, and I struggled a lot with that problem. When I was in business, I was thinking that I can do lot many things, but in the deep, I was not knowing who am I, why should I do this, but I was doing. So then I realized, okay,
Right.
the most important the problem that I'm facing, that I do not know who am I. Then I focused on learning who am I. It took me a lot of time, but finally I got to know who am I
Right.
in the deep, and then things started little bit changing. Okay, that's really
Yeah, I mean, time is everything, right? You got to invest time. This is the most least that you can do.
and so many people face this problem. Like when I talk to others as well, they say yes, they say that we know, but in reality they don't know actually. On the surface level they say I am this, I am that,
Right.
but in the deep they don't know. Okay, that's fantastic. So Nehas, like you
Yeah.
are brand transformer, and you have worked in marketing as well. So how one can transform his brand? So suppose for people like me who are just starting out, or who are in the middle, so how can they drastically transform their brand? What do you suggest?
Right. So, you know what, Karam? That's a fantastic question, and I get to hear it so many times. and I get
Yes.
surprised a lot of times because, I don't believe in anything related to drastic transformation. It's like crash diets, right? Like they
Mhm.
always say that a crash diet doesn't work. You gain weight double, triple times. So
Yes. Yes.
that's pretty much how brand transformation is all about. So I would rather call this evolution. I would rather call it as a consistent evolution than drastic brand transformation. Now,
Okay.
how do we get to consistent brand evolution, right? That's the bigger question. So I
Yes.
think
Yes.
one aspect, and today we are touching on subject, so I'll not invest too much time in just talking about one aspect, but
Mhm.
knowing oneself, which is self-discovery, is a very first stage that I talked to you about. Now,
Yes.
once you do that, you also have to identify who you want to be. Now, when I
Okay.
say who you want to be, it doesn't mean that you want to live someone else's life. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you leave your reality, you leave your authentic self. No.
Okay.
But once you identify who you are, and then you identify that, oh, all right, I'm right now, let's take an example of weight watching, right? So let's say today
Mhm.
I realize that I'm at 75 kgs.
Mhm.
Then I start visualizing that, all right, what is the ideal weight that next, what's my milestone that I want to achieve? And make small milestones. Don't make immediately a milestone of I want to reach 50 kgs. No, that's not right. So
Okay.
five kgs or a five leap is great. So 75 you want to be at 70, and then you identify what is it that I need to do. Should I go to a dietitian? Should I go work out? So similarly for your personal brand, once you know who you are, then you identify who you want to be, and then you break it down into milestones. And that's when you start identifying that, all right, for example, if I want to become this person, or I want to add these five qualities in me which I feel are the requirement because my bigger goal is this.
Mhm.
That's when you start identifying people, products, services, or any kind of pillars who would help you to achieve that little milestone,
Okay.
right? So that's how the progression is. And then, like I said, evolution, right? And consistent.
Right.
So once you achieve that, then you go on to your second goal, then you go on to a third goal. So honestly, personal branding in life never ends because
Okay.
you keep changing, don't you?
Right. Right.
I'm sure you are not the same person who you were 5 years back. So
Exactly.
so
That
it's
is
like
so
that.
true. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a consistent process, and we have to do like the focusing on the small milestone, next milestone, and that's the how the
Absolutely. I think the key part is guided. Like how, for example, you cannot just randomly start running. You have to know
yes.
your body. You have to see how your body responds. You probably have to join a running coach and say that, hey,
Yes.
tell me what is the technique of running so that I don't hurt my knees. So, similarly,
Right.
in this process of personal brand evolution, you got to take guidance. Take initial mentorship, take initial guidance.
Okay. 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 That's fantastic. So my next question is, what are the most important brand elements? Like you can take any coach or personal development coach or other coach. So what are the elements that he or she must focus on? So like I was also reading about the personal branding and the branding all in the whole sense. So some people the color and the main thing that you want to focus on, the singularity, kind of one thing that you really want to change, some kind of principles people in the books I read. But what are the main important brand elements that we can focus and continue on that?
you know that's amazing, right? Because we all read books and we all get
Yes,
inspired,
yes,
and
yes,
as
definitely.
coaches, that's like that becomes the basic, right? But
Yeah.
one thing that we probably don't give that attention or focus on when we are reading a book is that a book is your entire next 5 years in one set of 300 pages or
Yes,
150 pages, whatever.
yes,
So,
yes.
so in a book, when a writer is putting a book together, he has to make sure that she has to make sure that everything is covered in a book. So now first of all, what we need to do is we need to start treating it like our 12-month plan. So one book,
Okay.
one you read. This is where a lot of people do mistakes, first of all. They read books and then they want to start implementing, which is
Mm,
great, you know.
mm, mm.
But it's a 12-month plan. One book is a 12-month plan. A book
Okay.
like a personal transformation or digital marketing, it's at
Mm.
least a 6-month or a 12-month plan, and you got to break it down accordingly, right?
Right.
Otherwise, too much of it will go and nothing's going to be successful.
Yes.
So, but coming back to your question, this is a very personal experience that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yes, I will totally agree with that singularity part that you mentioned. And I think finding your brand uniqueness is important. Like, for example, look at LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people you would see, they put, and I'm talking mostly about coaches and entrepreneurs, right? People who are
Okay.
into, and our introduction is not overboard. Like ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए that हमारे title के नीचे I am a coach, I am a trainer, I am a personal brand strategist, I'm career strategist. They're like 10 things written under my name,
Mm-hmm.
10 titles written. So that's something which I would not suggest. I think your audience need to know what three things or max to max five things are unique to you. So that's
Okay.
one element that I want to say. And then, of course, I want to talk about what is your personal style. So this was about uniqueness in terms of the skills that you're offering. Now we're talking about personal style. So, for example, what do I follow? Am I a one-to-one connector? Am I a networker? Am I someone who connects people to different people? So, what's your personal style? That's very important.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of other aspects like what colors you should, visual communication, like they say,
Mm-hmm.
right? That what colors you should wear and all. But I think that's again a detailed topic, and we
Yes, yes.
cannot really touch on it.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, that's really fantastic. Yeah, so focusing on the
Thank
uniqueness,
you.
and yes, that's really amazing. Okay, okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, another my next question is, once a coach and he wants to market himself, what are the type of, what are the ways he can brand himself, or when he can go into the market, or what are the ways you suggest to do his marketing?
Right. Now, this is a larger scope of question, right? So tell me, when you say a coach, are you talking about someone who's recently entered into the coaching industry?
Yes, recently entered, also the mid-level, right? Because so many people make this mistake of not marketing themselves, or they are scared of marketing, or other challenges they face. So what are the ways you suggest to have the good marketing plan and go about that?
Right. So I think, okay. So for people like me, I have worked throughout in my career into marketing and corporate communication. Before I started, I became an entrepreneur. So this is what I was doing. Now, for people like me, it's slightly easier because we've done this exercise many times. But
Yes, yes.
I would like to speak about a layman, right? Someone who probably comes from a finance background and today is a financial coach, or someone who
Mhm.
comes from a fitness or sports background and today is a fitness coach.
Yes,
So let's
yes.
talk about layman who does not understand too much of marketing tactics, right?
Yes, yes.
Um, I think what you need to do is observe how brands grow, first of all. And when I
Okay.
say observe how brands grow, I'm talking about I'm trying to find an example. So for example, this is an Apple phone, right? So how you need to identify is that okay, now Apple phone or Apple as a product, let me observe what was the journey, what was the growth journey of this brand. And I'm talking about marketing aspect. So
Okay.
if you start analyzing how brands become brands, see, brands does not mean name, right? Brands doesn't
Right.
mean Apple.
Yes,
Brand
yes.
is a position that they have owned. So
Yes.
once you start analyzing a little bit of how products or services become a brand, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
that's when then you start putting yourself as a brand. Like for example, you start considering that you are a service or you are
Okay.
a person, but like a product. And then you
Yes.
see that what is the first thing that brand tells you. So
Mm-hmm.
what does brand tells you? Brand tells you its name and it tells you what is it and why is it for, and who is it for. These are the few aspects the brand tells you, the
Right.
whatever product you come across, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are the questions you need to answer for yourself. This is exactly what you need to answer for yourself. And then you need to start communicating that, because it's as simple as this, that let us say you go to a supermarket, right?
Okay.
You go to any supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
How do you pick products? You pick products by how well they are known, how much you have used
Right.
them, and
Right.
what is your personal connection with that product. And that's when it becomes a brand. So
Right.
because that brand has communicated all these things. So similarly, if you are not telling your target audience who are you,
Mm-hmm.
how you can help them, how
Mm-hmm.
they should try things with you for once, and then what experience you are giving them, how you made them feel, do they feel connected, do they feel they have grown with you. This
Okay.
is a series. You have to get there. And then probably a testimonial or a word of mouth from that person who has used your services comes and talks about it. And that's how you multiply your channel. So if you don't talk about yourself, like you said, people who are scared or people who don't want to talk
Right.
about themselves,
Mm-hmm.
then you know what? There are thousands and millions of people talking about themselves, and I'm sorry, but you will be lost in the crowd. And that's also fine. Come on, Karam, that's also fine. It's
Okay.
just what's your objective. So if you want to be fine like that and you say, no, I want to just go to my close set of friends and people who I can help, I don't want to publicize. That is choice that you're making. There's nothing wrong in it.
Okay.
But if you want to be famous, but if you want to get more business, but if you want to do more in this field, then you got to talk about yourself.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, and you
Okay.
have to tell why, how, who. These are the questions you need to answer and tell it to the crowd. Who are you? Through testimonials, through your LinkedIn articles, through your LinkedIn posts, or personal messages, broadcasts, so on and so forth. Many mediums.
Okay, okay, yeah, definitely. And the next question is like on the same. So, I see so many people are creating the content, right? I also create the content. I have seen your content as well. So, how the content marketing is, working? What is the insights for the content marketing? How does how can we expect, suppose I'm creating on the daily basis, how can I expect the returns on that? I really don't measure any from content marketing. So how one should go about the content marketing? And on LinkedIn,
So
I on the daily basis see so many people are doing that, commenting and good post they post on the daily basis. So what is the insights behind content marketing?
right. You know what? Honestly, I'm also evolving there. I'm also
Mhm.
learning the every bits and pieces of content marketing. And you know, the beautiful part is that things have become so dynamic, right? Like
Yes.
content marketing is such what it was a few years back is not there anymore, and every 6 months it's changing. So I think honestly, I will contribute my two bits, but I'm not an expert in this for this question. But I will contribute to it. I think what you need to observe, Karam, is what kind of content are people, liking, or what kind of content are they responding to. This is something you need to observe first. Look at people in your own circle and then try to see what kind of content is your audience liking. So for example, is it a personal story based content? Is it something that, this is how I did it and this is what happened with me? So it's a very first speech personal story content.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what people are liking? Are they liking a storytelling concept wherein someone did something and then there is an analogy and then there is a learning? So is
Mm-hmm.
that kind of content that people liking? Or else is this what people liking, that what you and I are doing? Are they ready to take so much of time out to listen to a conversation as long as this?
Right.
So these are the various aspects that you should look upon, and you should observe what is your target audience doing. And honestly, there's not one rule for it, I've realized. It
Mm-hmm.
completely is based on your target audience. Your target audience is also evolving, their choice is also evolving. So I think it's just a matter of being agile and being dynamic, and
Okay.
know what's happening. So like, quick on my feet, if I want to change this is what I want to do. So that's the kind of approach you need to have, to be an A-list content marketer, which I am not, but I would want to be. Yeah,
Okay. That's really fantastic. And I'm right now, generally, I'm doing the main what I did, what I faced, kind of personal things. But I'm also learning about, storytelling. How can I tell a story, or how can I write a story that is meaningful and give the meaning to the others, and they
yeah,
inspire by the story, and then they implement it. So I'm trying to learn that
yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's so interesting, right? Like, how do you engage people to a level that after reading your first two lines, they want to read more? That's
Yes.
like a thing, right? So yeah, I think we all will keep learning and keep improving, and maybe and it has happened. Some content pieces of mine hit many numbers of likes or viewerships and so on and so forth. Statistics are amazing, but some content pieces are not so great. So keep observing, and timing is also important. There's so many algorithms, honestly. I have stopped looking at it in so much detail. I do my bit and then I let it be.
Okay. 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 So yeah, my next question is like when you give coaching or when you groom people. So what are the performance parameters do you measure? Because I have seen many people are not measuring, or even I'm not measuring, like how we can measure the performance of you can say transformation. So what are the
Right,
elements, or what are the key points that you measure in terms of performance?
right.
Is
So
there
first
any
of all,
metrics? Is there any
yeah,
metrics or
okay.
something?
So that's the irony, right? When you talk about behavioral change, when you talk about personality trainings, then there is at least not any matrix which I or coaches who are setting their base can completely depend on. I mean, there are absolutely some of the biggest companies have done these metrics and they are superbly expensive. So either you invest in that, or else I'll tell you what the things that I tell and I do, right? So I think, first of all, the biggest parameter is that whoever you are coaching or training, this person or this group needs to be there with you for at least 1 month. So at least 5 sessions are minimum for you to bring tiniest of change, that too tiniest, because we're talking about years of conditioning, years of background,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Right.
that's first and foremost. Now, let's say someone has spent 1 month of their time with you, 5 sessions or so, then I think the biggest change I try to notice is on attitude. So, what kind of attitude change this person has shown? And being a coach, I think it becomes very easy for me to analyze or throw some situational questions without the person realizing that, oh,
Mm-hmm.
he's being tested. So,
Okay.
so this I think comes very naturally to our wicked mind. that now this is a trick question. Put
Yes.
your learner into this, and the person doesn't realize this, but all for their
Yes.
good, all for their good. I think, yeah. So this is the one thing that I start noticing is attitude change. How are they looking at the same situation? Were they looking at it before and now? So because I have done that, I know there before. It's always good to do that analysis before of their present skills, attitudes, etc. That little test before, and then you do this after your training is done. I think, yeah, situational questions, putting them in challenging situations, those kind of things is what will tell you how they have grown and what kind of growth they have shown. Is it tiny or is it more? What kind of examples they give you? I think by talking is how you get to know. I don't believe in these tests too much unless they are from really credible sources, honestly.
Because I have seen so many career tests are going on. So do this test, and then you will get to know your own strengths, and then you can work on them, and then multiple things. And they are charging heavy fees on them test as well. So that's why I ask this question, that how do you measure? So what is the process that behind this measurement?
Yeah, I mean, with due respect to all these tests, and I'm sure that these tests must have been developed by a lot of thought. I'm not denying it. But I just feel that each and everybody is different. In the same house, or two twins are also different. So how is it
Yes.
even possible for you to create something which millions of people can take? I personally, I'm a little orthodox that ways, and I feel no. Maybe what a parent can do while talking to a child, for example, in career cases, or what a guide or a coach or a mentor can do by talking to somebody for his growth, getting to know this person, connecting on a human level, understanding why is he saying what he's saying. That psychological study, nothing can take over it, unless, like I said, unless the test is being created by best of the psychologists and it's like proven and credible and real. Then it's, I've also taken many and I believe in them.
Okay, okay. That's really awesome, Neha. It was lovely talking to you, and thank you so much for giving your time and sharing your wisdom with me and my audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my pleasure. And I must tell you, Karam, you're doing something fantastic. Creating content is not easy. Finding people is not easy. And I know what kind of drill goes into it to connect with people, then to tell them. It's a cycle. So I think
Yes.
whatever you are doing, it's fantastic. I wish you all the best. I wish it benefits your audience and you and us and all of us as a community. I'm so glad you got me onto your platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.